So let's talk about the belt because that really became a big piece of the story. And if you go back, I mean, even at that point, nearly a decade, the after magazines, as we like to call them, if you go down to the grocery store or the newsstand, there's all these pro wrestling covers. And most of them at some point during the year, maybe multiple times a year, would have what if so and so face so and so, almost fantasy booking. And the
Hmm.
dream match for a lot of wrestling fans was the face of the WWF and Hulk Hogan versus the face of the NWA and Ric Flair. And of course, Hogan was the champ at the time. Did it just immediately, was that the immediate direction you thought that Vince was going to go, as champion versus champion, with you coming in with the belt?
Believe it or not, that never even came into the conversation.
Wow.
I just wanted to get out of there, and I think he realized that I'm certainly we could start from A to B. In terms of doing it be easy to do business with, I don't think there's ever been anybody easier. I just couldn't put up with the way he was, that he insisting on changing my entire character after being a world champion for the NWA for 10 times, 10 times. I didn't get it, and it cracked me. It literally cracked me.
So
But
we'll come back to the
no,
belt and the
I know.
creative.
I flew up to him. I flew up, had dinner with him, and we went to the office, and he said, I don't do guarantees, but I'll make you more than you made last year. He asked me what I made, and I ended up making 130 more.
Uh, just, obviously the perception in the business is like an old song. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. And
Hmm.
it certainly had that. And I'm sure part of you wondered, hey, can I really do this? Did you have any of those self-confidence issues that we've heard
No,
about would that New York art?
no, no,
Okay.
no. The minute I got off the plane there, no. But the self-confidence was driven by the management.
Right.
Those guys are good guys. All those guys up there at that time were Piper, DiBiase, Hacksaw. I mean, all friends of mine for years. Hogan, um, who I didn't know that well at that time, but I certainly had been around him a lot, and we'd had fun. Um, Randy, Outbreak, Randy the Business. A lot of people don't realize that Randy came to Charlotte, he weighed 170 pounds. He had just got through playing minor league baseball for the St. Louis Cardinals. And I helped break Randy in, basically. I mean, he and Lanny were living together, and I thought Randy was a great kid. I liked Lanny, and we hung out together, and I've always had a lot of respect for Randy. But there was no discussion, and if people will debate this till I die. Nobody ever promised me a Hulk Hogan Ric Flair match at WrestleMania,
Right.
and I didn't
Well,
ask for it.
so there's so much build and hype of wrestling fans at the time. Man, what's going to happen with Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair? When do you actually get to talk to Hulk? And is any of that discussed? I know you're going to work a series of house shows. I'm not talking about WrestleMania, but just it does feel like a dream match. And now you're both in the same promotion. Do you get any leisure time with Hulk where y'all can talk about what that might look like?
No, what happened was I went down to make interviews, and we called Hulk on the phone. He said, "You're finally here, huh?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I started making interviews for whatever we were doing next with Vince and Kevin and the whole cast of characters there. So it was a great time in my life. I was away from Herd, who had completely driven me crazy.
RCS 88 writes, did you get a chance to interact with Ricky Steamboat when you arrived in 91? And did you ever discuss with him the possibility of working a match in the WWF? That would have been interesting to
He
recreate
he
what you
he
guys had
he,
done.
he was leaving, and I was coming.
I
We
see.
crossed paths in the same way. Same with Aaron Tully.
Yeah. Adam Michaels wants to know, who are the wrestlers you looked forward to the most to wrestle when you got to the WWF?
Oh God,
Piper,
yeah,
Savage, DiBiase.
Piper, Savage. I never got to wrestle Teddy there, but I think against him one time, maybe in a Survivor Series. But I mean, it was just. I mean, look, I had so many friends there. Terry Taylor was there. DiBiase was there. I'm traveling with those guys. I'm wrestling Hot Rod, traveling with Hot Rod, and then I'm teaming with Sid against Hot Rod and Hulk. I mean, we were just sold out everywhere. It was insanity. And of course, anytime I got to work with Hulk was just, I mean, it was sold out. I don't think we ever had one building that didn't sell out. If we did, it would have been the Garden. But from Chicago back and forth, neighbor, across the country, we sold out.
Drew Landry says, we all know why you left the WWF or WCW and NWA. When you came into the WWF, it appeared as though you were a top guy paired with Hogan. Was that part of a conversation to bring you in, or did the pairing even matter in your mind?
It didn't matter in my mind at all.
Yeah.